Hello model car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I want to feature a couple of my builds here of the iconic 427 Shelby Cobra. I'm sure you guys know this car and are very familiar with this car and the story behind it. So briefly, Carroll Shelby was out of racing due to heart conditions, and he was looking to build his own sports car, and he had recently heard that Ace Sports Cars had lost their engine supplier and Bristol, so they were no longer able to produce and build their car. And he contacted them, and his plan was to put an American V8 in one of these in this car. And he contacted them and came up with an agreement and got a couple of body and chassis to experiment with, and he did just that, starting with the Ford 260 V8, which this was in '62, so the 289 was not out yet. That didn't come out until '63, and real common in '64, but some '63s got it. And he started with the 260 and then put the 289 in them. But he also knew that there was much more potential, and he really wanted to stuff the 427 in it, which that motor came out in '63. And so in '64 he was doing that. So he built these cars, and he stuffed 427s in them, which interestingly, he called them 427 Cobras, but due to a few issues, and there's a couple of different stories and rumors that there was a shortage of 427 engines, so he put some 428 police interceptors in some of them. That's one of the stories. One of the other stories is that the 427 was making like 480 horsepower, and couple of the first cars out there, people were driving them, because he built the competition models and converted some to semi-competition models, which is more what this represents. And then he did street 427 Cobras. They were crashing them, and there were some incidences where people just couldn't control them. So he was putting 428 police interceptors in a number of them. And when he got caught, two things happened. It was, people would complain and say, "Hey, I got a 428, not a 427. I bought a 427 Cobra." And he's like, 427 is just a number on it. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the motor that's in it, which, being the Texan that he is. But he did pull a few of them out and put 427s in them for some of the customers that had complained. So there's a few stories that, why he did that, because the 428, much more streetable motor, but was rated at like 380 horsepower versus 470 or whatever the 427 was, but it was more of a much more high winding motor. And another interesting fact is, I don't know how many may actually know this, but the 427 actually doesn't displace 427 cubic inches. It's actually 425 and some change based on the bore and stroke. It's like 425.8 something or 0.7 something. I don't have the math in front of me, but why they decided to call it the 427 was basically because a couple of the racing classes had the 7-liter limit, which is why there's the 426 Hemi that came out about the same time. And Chevy did have a 427 as well, but that was the Z11W motor in '63 and not the Porcupine Head 427 we think of today when you say Chevy 427, which that really didn't come out until late '65 and was popping up in '66 cars. 426 Hemi actually displaced 426. The Ford displaced 425 point something, almost 426 cubic inches, but that's marketing and nobody really counts that. But I'll get more into some of that another time. But these are two very old builds of mine from the Revell catalog from '88. These are both original builds, and they were molded in color. This one was molded in metallic blue, and that one's molded in red. And I've done a number of these. I've actually got 4 or 5 of them built, and probably another 6 or 7 of them unbuilt in my stash. So really love that kit. And these are my 2 first builds from '88, which is why I'm showing them to you here. I still love them, still proud of them. I'll show you warts and pains and all, because it shows, my many years of building and my progression of talent and skill. So you take a closer look at some of these and the details on them. And things have happened over the years. Like one taillight is actually clear and one's foggy because one fell off and was lost a long time ago, and I had replaced it. And I know one of these had fallen off, and I'd replaced it. And I'm pretty sure same thing with one of these lift hooks or whatever they actually call them. But this is pretty much my surviving car. It's missing the mirror. I'll have to. I have parts kits, so I'll get another mirror and glue it on there. And the inside rear mirror is missing, but you can see the glue mark where it was stuck. But there's a lot of battle scars with this one, and same thing with this one, which is more of the street car. But in getting with this one, I don't quite remember. I think it was airbrushed, but it's the blue body, but I did do a layer of paint on it. You see the pipes aren't on there very well. Wheels aren't very well detailed. Stripes are painted on, believe it or not. And if you look closely, if it'll focus, you can kind of see there's two layers of stripes on here because there's a line here. And I tried to do it. It didn't work out very well. So then I painted the whole center section white. And then I'd later masked and taped and painted the blue stripe that divides them after the fact. And I believe, I can't remember if I brush painted that. I'm pretty sure I did. I just masked it and brush painted it and then peeled it off. The white stripe, that's either airbrushed or painted. Pretty sure it's airbrushed. And then the body is airbrushed. I don't believe this one was spray painted. So it was one of my earliest airbrushes. And if you notice, I'd later clear coated it, and I remember doing that because I'm like, it looks a little dull. I wanted to freshen it up. So that's actually clear coat sprayed on the chrome, on the glass, all over the body, and because it separates. So I can remove the chassis, and here's the whole body. I mean, these pop apart. You see my really nice silver fingerprint right there in the seat. And then I detailed the gauges, not very well, and then no wood rim steering wheel. Lots of glue marks on the glass. You see my boogers in the paint and quality of the paint and then the stripes and the muck on there. But always love these. And then I don't know what I did there. There's a run or something got on it. But and then even on the inside where I blacked it all out, I didn't do a very good job. You can see some of the areas where I didn't get the black and I didn't bother brushing it and just didn't quite finish it. And it's all brush painted. This is all brush painted. The hood actually does open, even though one of the parts of the hinges is actually broken. So I got to be real careful. So you can see it right there. But considering this is 30 plus years old since I built it, but really enjoyed it. And it's one of the reasons I still have it is, I've mentioned it before, it's the best of what I was doing back then. You see my masking of the stripes is not very good and where the overspray went. But still, fond memories of building this thing, and that's all it's about, is having a good time and the memories. And here's the chassis, and this is all brush painted. And then I had spray bombed, clear coated it after the fact. So if you notice the chrome has a little bit of a gold look to it, that's clear coat. And clear coat on the wheels, and this wheel is crooked. Didn't quite get the suspension there. But everything is brush painted, painted red. Not very accurately, but so. And then this is the competition model with a single 4-barrel and 427, which one of the few differences between these two. And then this one, which is shortly after. This is the street version 427 with wire wheels, which is how Revell issued it. Even though only the small block cars got wire wheels, none of the big block cars actually got wire wheels. And if you notice, I got the letters on this tire, and it's not on there very well. You see the rim poking out. But on this tire, I got the letters on the inside. I didn't even notice that when I was building it. Noticed it years later. You can see all the brush painting under there. And same thing. And this one's held up even better, but still, I did the same thing at the time. Spray bomb clear coated the whole thing. So this body is spray painted red over the red. There's no primer, so there's parts where you can actually see through the body, because I did black out the inside, but the black does kind of shadow through the paint there. And this one, same thing. You can remove the chassis from the body. and this one has the dual quads, which is more like the 428 Interceptor kind of thing, but they put the dual quads on it, and then the regular valve covers that don't say Cobra on it. But really like these kits. I didn't paint the wheel backs. Just very old kit. It's some of my oldest surviving model kits, but really enjoy them, and I still like looking at them today, even though I'm showing you this and it's my best work from back then. Definitely not my best work now, but my best work from back then. The top doesn't come off. This is glued on. The hood does open, and this one I don't have any issues with it. But you can see where I've blacked it out the backside of the hood, and that's all brush painted, of course. And then you can see this definitely a spray painted paint job and not very well covered. And I couldn't tell you. I'm probably sure it was a hobby paint like Testors or something at the time. And then this one's got the bumpers instead of the lift hooks, and then the exhaust on it, and then all the regular stuff that goes along with it. But these were built right out of the box and thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm surprised that they still exist today. But like I said, it's celebrated as some of my best work for the time. And so I'm just showing you, not every model's perfect. You're gonna get better as you build. Don't stress it. Just enjoy building them. I've enjoyed building these, and I built many of them. Like I said, I've got both of these. I did more of a recent one, the number 11 car with the decals, and I got those decals on. Where this one I had messed the decals up, and I really wanted the stripe, so I painted it. And this one was not very well done, but I've done a couple more of these since then, and I've got many more to do. And I love the Cobra and the story that goes along with the Cobra, so I'll get more in depth on that on one of the other builds. But I just wanted to show you two very old builds of mine, easily 30 years old, but just wanted to share them with you and get your thoughts and ideas, and how many of you've got builds that go back that far. I don't know why I never restored these with some of my other ones, but like I said, it's some of my best work from back then, and these ones were actually before high school, so I was probably I think 8th grade, maybe freshman year, 8th grade, when these things came out and I built these. So they are very old, and but I still love them and enjoy them, and I'm sharing them with you today. So thank you for tuning in and subscribing and watching, and I appreciate it, and all of your comments, which I feed off of regularly. And you guys, you have a wonderful Saturday, and I will see you next weekend.